On this episode of RC Kicks, we're getting out the big girls. We're also going to do some repairs, take them out for a bash, crush a few cars, and check on the Phantom Clod. And I cut myself. Ow! You're vicious! Stay tuned to find out more. Hi, welcome to RC Kicks. On today's show, if you haven't seen these before, these are my two beauties. I've got the Clod with a full chassis upgrade, all carbon all the way through, and a reasonably stock Agrios. If you haven't seen these, I'll put a link up here, go check them out. The Clod one has a full chassis swap and absolutely gorgeous. Since you've last seen it, if you've been around on the channel for a while, if not, go check out the builds on these, they are fantastic. I'll go over them and do a quick roundup because it's been a while and some of you who have joined might not know these. So the Clod, it was a standard Clod, yeah, it's not anymore. Basically, I've done a full chassis swap. So what have we got? Well, we have a lovely chassis from the Clod shop, full carbon all the way through, absolutely stunning. Running on a mixture of, I think these are shocks from Schumacher, but I could be wrong. They were from my parts bin. And front and rear diffs are standard Clods, but that's pretty much it. I've got the conversion to put the servos on the front and rear axle. It is all for steer. And it's a quick run electronic speed controller running just two standard torque tune motors. Why haven't I put more power in it? Doesn't really need it. It's actually quite light now considering I've took away most of the chassis, and yeah, it flies. It'll pull wheelies and all that kind of stuff. A few more mods that I've done off camera. If you notice, the wheel stance is now insanely wide. I've pushed them wider. So yeah, she's a lovely one and so much fun to drive. When I first got this on the show, it was more to do just to get some content, but you guys seem to really like it. Now I built it on the 16th of the 7th and I did quite a few upgrades, so go check that out. But yeah, she's lovely. I wanted to do a chassis upgrade again because the Clod shop does a professional like racing one, but they've sold out unfortunately. But I hope one day to do another level push to get a real full racing chassis in it. They offer one chassis that's a little bit higher than this one, but I'm not too keen on all the drill holes that because you can adjust so much. But their actual racing one, maybe if it comes back into stock at some point, I'll get it and I'll build it on the show. So I'm quite happy with it at the moment. I did have issues with it being too high, but I adjusted the shocks down and now it sits lovely and it jumps brilliantly. It just handles just like a monster truck. So that is my little baby. So apart from the wheel hub changes, I haven't really done much else to it. The body's taken a bit of a battering. It's not as quite as pristine as it once was, but this is a driver for sure. As for the other girl, well, this is an Agrios. Absolutely stunning, very different to the Clod. And yeah, I built this on the show. I'll put a link up here. Go check that out if you want to see it. This is very different to the Clod. But I really like it. There was a few things that I did differently, especially on the body versus what they were actually telling you to do, and that's round the back section. I can highly recommend leaving this section in. You're supposed to cut this out, but leave it in. It gives it much more strong, it's much stronger, and it gives it more rigidity. And it looks fine. I don't think anyone would notice that was anything different, but you're supposed to cut this section out as well. Colour-wise, I did it blue, red and black, but obviously that's not standard. but I like the blue, it helps it pop. But I love this chassis, look at it. It's huge, absolutely huge, running the same electronic speed controller as the Clod is. Now there's one problem with this one, the rear servo horns come off, nothing too drastic, so we've got to fix that before we run it. It's running 2 vintage Kyosho Mega motors, 550 motors, so again, still pretty quick. This one has also had off camera a stance improvement, and if you look, I don't know if you can see it, it's actually wider than the Clod now. And it's running Clod wheels and tyres. So it took me ages to get these. These are so hard to find, these hubs. And also, you know, it's expensive. Buying a set of these, yeah, you know, you can get up there to like £80 for a set, £90 for a set. But this car looks this monster truck looks so much better with Clod wheels and tyres on it. It should have been done by standard, but the ones that come with the kit are much thinner and smaller, but this gives it a much better scale look. Right. I'm going to fix that and then we can take it for a run. Now, because I took so much off the Clod, I actually kept all the parts. I didn't sell them, and I've been slowly building this. So this is Franken-Clod. This is about 4 different Clods that I've picked up bits and pieces, because obviously I still kept the axles for this, but this is the chassis from that. So I managed to find a front axle from one place, another axle from somewhere else, because obviously the axles are really expensive because people keep them to do things. So picking up axles can be a little bit tricky, but it's pretty much there. All the suspension, this is old Traxxas suspension, so even this has an upgraded suspension, but they need to have much softer oil in them. They're very stiff. I've got an electronic speed controller to go in it as well, so I've got transmitter receiver. So what I'm really missing now is the wheels and tyres, so I've got to source another set of wheels and tyres, but they're really expensive and they're hard to find. The rims, for some weird reason, the rims are really hard to find. And a body, but a body can be anything, that's not too difficult. So it's getting close now. The only thing that I'll probably do to this one is I will do on axle steering, because I think they all need that. So there you go. And then whether I keep this one or whether I sell it, I don't know, but it was just such a shame to just have so many parts left over. I thought maybe I can bring one back to life, which is what I've been done. Also, I've been gifted a few bits and pieces for this as well. So there we go. So that's Franken-Clod. At some point it will come back to life. It's almost there. Right, let's strip down the back of the servo, fix that, shouldn't take very long. And then we're going to go and we're going to crush some of these. So there you go, that was great fun. I really enjoyed it, and I got away without actually breaking anything, including the camera, which is quite surprising because I was sticking it all over the place and then jumping it. But it survived, so there we go. What's going to be next for these two? Well, there's one more upgrade I want to do to the Agrios, and that is the servo savers that I've got on the Clod are these metal ones from, well, they're called hotracing.com. So I was really happy with them, so I'm going to fit them on this one. The reason I was kind of hesitating is these are actually quite expensive. They're like £23–24 each, so of course you're spending the best part of £50 just for two servo savers. But I'm happy with the way they work on this car. It helps with the steering to stay true, whereas these ones are way too sloppy, the plastic ones. But you can't not run servo savers because it would be so easy to just rip them. Now if obviously if you were going to do racing or something like that, then you don't really care whether you destroy a servo or not. So I think I'll bite the bullet and get two more for this this monster truck. The servos that are in this one are 25 kilo Banggood specials, and I've got 35 kilo Banggood specials in this one. It's really interesting because the 25 kilo one is the one I recommend for people to put cheap and cheerful in their 1/10 cars. So I've got it in this just to see how much abuse they can take. Now I've run this probably about 4 or 5 times now where I'm jumping it all the time, and they're holding up okay. So it kind of backs up my feeling that they are reasonably good quality for the cheap money that you pay for them, like 11 quid or something like that. But I'll keep pushing it until one of them actually fails. The 35s are a better way to go for stuff like this, for sure. A bit overkill if you put it into something like a 1/10, but then you've got to be careful that you're not going to get slightly slower responses. You don't really want to go much slower response rates. So there you go, great fun. Hopefully I'm going to get a Mad Van 2, which is the brushless version from Kyosho. That's just ready to run. Hopefully, it sounds like it's been delayed because I was hoping to have it here pretty much now. There's a lot of stuff that's been slipping on the delayed front. What am I waiting on? Waiting on the Top Force Evo, that will be coming soon. I've got that on order. What else have I got on order? I've got a CCO2 Unimog, that's coming. What else have I got? I've got the track vehicle, that's coming as well, and a few other bits and pieces coming. So stay tuned, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell because I bring out videos every 2 to 3 days. So enjoy the sunshine if you live in the UK, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye. Monsters.